Hello students, this is chapter number 5, fertilizers and manures, and this is our fourth lecture for fifth chapter. So today's point is application of liquid fertilizers. So liquid fertilizers are applied by three different methods, like first one is starter solution, then foliar application, then refrigeration, then injection into soil and aerial application. So that methods are, first one is the starter solution. So what is starter solution? These generally consist of nitrogen, phosphorus pentoxide and potassium oxide in the ratio of 1:2:1 and 1:1:2 and are applied to young vegetable plants at the time of transplanting. They are used in small quantity and they replace water. These solutions have two advantages. Number one, the nutrient reach the plant root immediately. This is first advantage of this method, and the second advantage is the solution is sufficiently diluted so that it does not inhibit growth. And the disadvantages is also there. So first disadvantage of this method is if weathering is not a part of the regular operation, then the extra labor is needed and fixation of phosphate may be greater in this method. This is second advantage. So next point is foliar application or liquid fertilizer application through foliar. So what is foliar application? In these methods, leaves of growing plants are sprayed with suitable fertilizer solutions in low concentration to supply nutrients or combination of nutrients to the plants. Its effect is same as that of soil application. So fertilizers are not saved by this method. So fertilizers may be applied when number one, a competitive crop soil conditions make nutrients from soil dressing unavailable. Then if an accurately timed response to fertilizers is required, then point number C is routine applications of insecticidal, herbicidal sprays to which nutrients can be added are made. And last point is the growth of the crops prevents application of fertilizers to the soil but permits its application to the leaves from a high clearance sprayers. So the difficulties associated with the foliar applications of nutrients are, first one is a strong solution which burns leaves. Sometimes that fertilizers are so very strong, that's why that fertilizer or the strong solution burns leaves. Then solution of low concentration provide only small quantity of nutrients in a single spray. So we need more spray. Then several applications are needed for moderate to high fertilizers rate. And last one is it is costly as compared to soil application unless combined with other spraying systems or other spraying operations taken up for weeds, insects or disease control. So these are some difficulties which is associated with the foliar application. So next type or next method is direct application of liquid fertilizers to soil. In this method, with the help of special equipments, anhydrous ammonia and N2 solutions are directly applied to soils to prevent plant injury and wastage of ammonia. When soil having medium texture, then widest range of moisture and are the base place for the application of anhydrous ammonia. Then our next method is application of liquid fertilizers through irrigation water. So we can apply these fertilizers through irrigation water also. The nutrients required by plants are served through the mixing of straight and mixed fertilizers containing nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium with irrigation streams. Generally, nitrogenous fertilizers are applied through irrigation water. This is an expensive method. This method, when we can apply, we can spray fertilizer through irrigation water, is expensive method. Then our next point is, here it is fertilizers. We can see in this picture there are liquid fertilizers, so we can apply that fertilizers directly or through mixing with solutions. So it is different bottles of fertilizers, and there is a spray, that is liquid fertilizer. We can use that fertilizer through that spray. So next point is factors affecting efficiency of fertilizers. The efficiency is defined as the percentage of added fertilizers that is actually used by the plants. The fertilizers efficiencies are approximately 30 to 70% of added nitrogen and 5 to 30% of added phosphorus and 50 to 60% of added potassium. The values can be lower or higher depending on the various factors, like there are different factors, which are, first one factor is the type of soil and its fertility, then cropping history, then third one is a season in which the crop is grown, then fourth is the nature of crops and variety and its growth habit. The next one is sowing time and plant population. The next type is type, quantity, time and method of fertilizer supplied. Then the method, quantity and frequency of irrigation. Then how the soil moisture is conserved in case of rain-fed or unirrigated crops. And last point is the extent and manner in which the weeds, the pests and the disease are controlled. These are factors which affecting the efficiency of fertilizers. So next point is vermicompost. What is vermicompost, or the definition of vermicompost? So vermicomposting is a process that relies on earthworms and microorganisms to help stabilize active organic material and convert them to a valuable soil amendment and source of plant nutrients. Here in this picture we can see the vermicomposting process and the earthworms which are used for that vermicomposting. This is preparation of vermicompost. It is a vermiculture box. In this figure we can see the vermiculture box, wooden vermiculture box, which is used for indoor or small scale culturing technique. This is box. It is a wooden box which is also used like this in the indoor or small scale culturing methods. Okay, so there are methods of preparation of vermicompost. So what are methods? Vermicompost or vermiculture means the scientific growing of earthworms, and the vermicompost can be done by either following two methods. First one is indoor vermicomposting method or vermiculture method, and second one is outdoor culturing technique. In this technique we use this wooden box or different types of boxes in indoor vermiculture or vermiculture techniques, and second technique is outdoor vermiculture technique. In this technique we can use this outdoor arrangement for vermiculture. So in our first method, that first method is indoor or small scale culturing technique. In this technique, this is indoor method. In this technique, the preparation of vermicompost or the vermiculture bed is as follows. First one, there are some steps. First one, the culture container should be made of either plastic or wood or tin. In this picture we can see the wooden box for culturing, so that they can be transported from one place to another. That box should be non-porous so that they are able to retain moisture. The boxes should be of 50 cm to 35 cm into 15.20 centimeter with a few holes of 500 nanometers in diameter at the bottom. Bottom of the box is covered with a plastic window screen which is covered with a jute cloth to prevent the sticking of culture medium or the soil which is used for culture medium and escape of earthworm through holes. These holes permits the drainage of excess of water. Generally, plastic tubes are used for vermiculture because they are more durable. Plastic tubes are more durable than this wooden box and can be easily packed over each other in vertical rows. For this vermiculture process, a mixture of 1/3 soil and 2/3 organic matter is used for culture purpose. A layer of 2 to 4 centimeter thick or 2 to 4 centimeter thick sand is spread in the plastic or wooden boxes. This layer is covered with 2 to 4 centimeter thick soil layer. That organic matter is placed on one side of container, then water is sprinkled over the culture medium so as to make it 20 to 30% moist. For indoor process, temperature of building is maintained between 10 to 20 degrees centigrade. Water should be sprinkled regularly in limited quantity. So this is method to prepare vermicompost or the vermicompost box for indoor system or indoor method. Then another one method, that is outdoor culturing technique. In outdoor culturing technique, for outdoor culture, a low temperature place or places or boxes must be covered with suitable insulation material, example wheat straw, dry hay or weeds, etc., to maintain the required temperature. Large vermiculture beds are made on the wastelands with a bottom layer of 10 cm high gravel over which plastic window is placed with its edges raised up to 20 mm height. In this box, the bottom is covered with 2 to 4 cm thick layer, which is sand layer, which is covered with a mixture of 1/3 soil and 2/3 organic matter in the form of conical heap. Okay. So avoid accumulation of excess water during rains because this is outdoor technique. The bottom layer of gravel and sand also help to maintain the water content in culture. The window screen prevents the escape of worms. That is why there is a window screen. So this is our outdoor culture technique or culturing technique. Now our next point is effect of vermicompost on soil fertility. Vermicompost deal with application of earthworms for production of, first one is, there are effects. First one is rich biofertilizers which break down organic into plant available nutrients. Then second one is animal feed for livestock. Third one is treatment of industrial waste and effluents. Fourth one is it increases biotic components of soil processes. And last is it keeps the soil well aerated. So here today we have already discussed about liquid fertilizers, the application of liquid fertilizers, then factors affecting efficiency of fertilizers, then vermicomposting, then preparation of vermicompost bed. There are two methods, first one is indoor method and second one is outdoor method, and then effect of vermicompost on soil fertility. So in our next lecture we will discuss about synthetic fertilizers. Okay, thank you.